Hey everybody, it's Monday. Hope you guys had a good weekend.
Yeah, me and Jen are sitting here wondering why ice melts faster in an alcoholic drink as it does
one of those
water. You can put it
great
in
mysteries
room temperature water and the ice will be in there forever.
Well, not forever, but for longer.
Yeah.
Maybe I should put a timer on it.
Rum and Coke or any other kind of alcoholic drink, it's fucking vanishes in
Yeah,
minutes.
it's just... And it's not hot in here. I don't really understand. We have air conditioning.
Yeah.
But yeah. So yeah, it's Monday, and that means it's time for a movie review. And again, we are talking about one that the very generous Xánada sent to us.
It's been sending us a lot of stuff. Been sending a lot of shit.
A lot of Leonardo DiCaprio
movies. And it's because he's a fan of Leonardo DiCaprio. And I never really was. Me and Jen kind of grew up in a time where we saw him in Romeo and Juliet, which I loved. I loved that movie. I thought he was great in it. And then like Titanic. So we kind of were always under the impression that he was a child star.
Kinda. Or like a pretty boy type.
Yeah, pretty boy child star or something. And really didn't take him too seriously. I really, stopped watching his movies, And recently we're getting into him, and he's fucking good, man. He's a good actor. He's really good. He's kind of like Brad Pitt. Brad Pitt, he's so good looking that you think he can't act.
Yeah.
But he can act. Go look at fucking Fight Club. Brad Pitt's fucking great in it.
Yeah, Brad Pitt is a good actor.
Yeah, he's good. And he was good in fucking 12 Monkeys and shit. He can play a lunatic. So he's very good. And sometimes you kind of get prejudiced. You see a real good-looking movie star type actor, and you just kind of assume that he can't act. Leonardo was kind of like that for me. I just see him as a child star, just handsome, pretty boy. That bitch can't act. No, he can fucking act. The past fucking movies we've been watching, we've seen like 5 of them, and he knocks it out of the park with each one. I gotta say, and this is, I'm violating the rules of the Short Man Mafia. He's a better actor than Tom Cruise.
Well, I don't think that's a controversial statement to make.
Tom Cruise is a fucking movie star, though. That bitch delivers. He pretty much single-handedly saved all of Hollywood last year with that fucking Top Gun movie. That was the only movie that made any goddamn money.
Well, and we were talking about that before. There's a difference between a movie star and an actor.
Yeah,
sometimes it overlaps, but not always.
Yeah. Tom can act. He was great in Collateral. Remember that fucking... He played a fucking... What called Collateral?
Yeah.
Yeah, he played a fucking assassin and shit. He can't act. It's just that people pay to see Tom Cruise. Just like I used to pay to see fucking Arnold Schwarzenegger in his cheesy-ass movies. I paid to see Arnold. I didn't really pay to see Arnold act.
Yeah, you never forget that it's him.
Never forget it's Arnold. Yeah, you're going to see Arnold do this shit.
Well, the thing about this, the movie we were talking about today, obviously, it's right there in the title, is Blood Diamond.
Blood Diamond.
From 2006. Now, incidentally, this movie came out the same year as The Departed, which we just reviewed a couple weeks back. And so Leonardo DiCaprio was getting all of the award nominations this year because he was in 2 very, very acclaimed films at the same time. And I really feel like 2006, when Blood Diamond came out, when The Departed came out, this was kind of the first time that, much like you just said, that a lot of critics were like, holy shit, he's actually like a good actor. Like he's a man, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because, like I said, I think it's not even so much that he was a child actor, but he's very boyish looking, you know what I mean? So it's kind of, I think a lot of critics found it hard, again, to take him seriously because he looked so youthful. But in this one, actually, even some critics pointed out, it's like, oh, this is the first time that he actually looks like a grown man. And then that he actually, pulls it off, you know what I mean?
He's in early 30s.
Yeah, and that's how old the character is supposed to be as well.
Yeah.
He says he's 32 at one point.
It's a great flick.
I love this movie.
About a dude in Africa who grew up in Rhodesia. And if you know the fucking story of Rhodesia, it was just like it was kind of an artificial country built by a bunch of English and Dutch guys trying to make an African nation. It was called Rhodesia. It was around for a little while, and then it collapsed. It got attacked by some communist rebels and shit, and it became Zimbabwe again. And those dudes all ended up homeless. A lot of them went to fucking South Africa and other places to fucking hide out. And there was a bush war and shit, the Rhodesian bush war that was happening during the time of Rhodesia. It's quite an interesting time.
Which they do refer to slightly in this one as he's talking about his childhood and stuff.
Yeah. So DiCaprio's character is kind of like an ex-soldier who's become kind of like a soldier of fortune. He calls himself a soldier of fortune, a mercenary basically, working in Africa.
A smuggler,
but he's not really a mercenary. He's a smuggler. He's a
Yeah.
diamond smuggler.
Yeah.
All right. He's just kind of a jack of all trades. He's kind of survivalist, and he's involved with fucking the diamond, the blood diamond trade. You know, fucking smuggling diamonds out of Africa to make some fucking money.
Well, out of Sierra Leone and into Liberia
to get them out of Africa,
and then exporting them legally because you're not really
Right.
supposed to export them from Sierra
Right.
Leone.
He's trying to make a big enough score so he could fucking leave the African continent and not have to come back. So he wants out of there. But it's in him. Africa's fucking in him. He likes the adventure. This is a story of him going on this adventure with this fine-ass journalist that I assumed was CIA. I don't know. They never did really say.
No, she was just a
Guess
journalist.
she wasn't. Sometimes it's one and the same thing. Played by Jennifer Connelly. She's looking good in this too.
She always looks good.
Yeah. And he falls in with this African guy. The African guy has found this huge fucking diamond.
A pink
He heard
diamond.
about it.
Very rare.
He heard that this African guy has this diamond, and he squirreled it away because he was a captive of the RUF.
RUF, yeah.
Which is kind of like a revolutionary fighting force that was trying to take over. What country was that?
Sierra Leone.
Sierra Leone. That's
Sierra
right.
Leone.
And they enslaved this dude and had him out there digging diamonds. And he found one. It was huge. He put it in his toes and asked to go to the restroom. Fucking went out and fucking buried it. But then he ended up in jail, and his command, because he got attacked by government forces, and he got liberated but was thrown into jail because they couldn't figure out who was who. While he was in there, Leonardo DiCaprio's character was locked up in there too, and he heard that guy had found that diamond. Wasn't he in there?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was in there, right?
Yeah, that's how we found
But
out
he got
about it.
sprung quick, and then later he used money to get that guy out of there.
Yeah,
He was
DiCaprio
trying
arranged
to team
it.
up with him to go back and get that diamond. And this is where this is kind of where the adventure begins. You know, this is an action-packed movie, action-packed adventure, and he's got a friend, African guy who's a bartender who hooks him up with guns and information. And he sees Jennifer Connelly over there, you know, and he's like, "What's up with that?" And he's like, "Go check it out," type of deal, you know. And turns out she's doing a story on the diamond trade, and he gets pissed, but he likes her. He's hot for her, you know. She's very hot in this, and she's very manipulative. She's got her own skills. She can fucking manipulate dudes very well.
Well,
And,
that's kind of her job.
that's her job.
They imply in this, well, they don't imply. They say that she's, a journalist and she's been in Afghanistan and everything like that. So
Yeah.
she's used to being in dangerous situations and like wangling her way out of them.
Yeah, with
So-
dudes that are trying to kill her.
Right. So that comes in handy
Right.
several times over the course of the
she
film.
appeals to their damn egos and shit. I mean, you guys look badass. Can I get a picture of you guys? And fucking, and
they're all like,
she
"Ah,
knows how
okay."
to fucking
Right.
suck these dudes in, you know. So anyway, it kind of generates into kind of becomes a story. To me, it started to remind me of a high-end, serious version of kind of like Romancing the Stone, where you have this adventurer with this fucking.
Oh, this is a
chick.
lot more bleak than
It's a lot more
Romancing the
bleak.
Stone.
But it kind of reminds me of that. It was kind of an adventure story.
Yeah.
With the fucking with an Afrikaans kind of fucking vibe to it. You know, it's Africa seen through the fucking eyes of a fucking white African who's living there. And he makes friends and shit. You know, and fucking he almost fucks this guy over. The black dude that he hooks up with is just like a genuinely nice dude. He's just a family.
He's just
man.
a regular fisherman. He's got a wife and kids, and he just wants a normal ass life.
He's just trying to get his family back. He doesn't even really give a shit about the diamonds or the money. He just wants his family and his son back. And DiCaprio's kind of this jack of all trades, kind of criminal / mercenary who's
kind of
thinking about
amoral.
stealing that. He's thinking about fucking that dude over and stealing that diamond from him. And it's kind of a story of, in the end, redemption. Fucking where he was gonna steal it, but then he gets mortally wounded. Spoiler alert. And he fucking gives the diamond to him and fucking tells him what to do with it and how to fucking make money and save his family. And
get the fuck out of there, yeah.
Black dude was like, what was his name again?
Solomon Vandy.
Solomon, yeah. Solomon's like, I thought you were going to steal the diamond from me. He started laughing. He's on the ground laughing. He goes, yeah, it occurred to me.
It did occur to me.
Because he was going to steal it.
And then they both like had a good laugh together.
Yeah, it occurred to me.
He was going to steal it.
Yeah, but it's a good flick, man. It kind of brings back, if you like Warren Zevon's fucking movie or his song Rollin' the Headless Thompson Gunner, it's kind of like that, you know, story about African fighters. And kind of just like stuff out of the album, out of the band Rome, you know, where they're fucking One Fire, you know, the song they had about Rhodesia and shit. It's just very fucking cool. Very cool story. And Leonardo fucking, he brings it in this movie.
He's great in this movie.
Does a South Africa or fucking African style
It's
accent.
a Rhodesian accent, which is
He
slightly different than an Afrikaans
yeah, but
accent.
it's kind of like South African sounding, but he can do it, and fucking he delivers, man.
Because I was curious, because I was like, I know that maybe some critics who maybe had never heard anyone talk from Rhodesia before, I don't know, because I know that he got like a slight, maybe I think I remember like slightly people being like, oh, the accent he was doing, like it was so distracting and stuff like that. But so I did a little bit of research online, and evidently people that are actually from that area said, no, he did a pretty good job. That's actually pretty much what they sound like.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, which kind of makes me proud. He's a fucking American actor. Most American actors can't act worth shit. The best American actors are British.
Pretending to be Americans.
Yeah. Like that dude from The Walking Dead, man. He had me being a Southerner. I would fucking swore straight up and down.
Andrew Lincoln, yeah.
From fucking Mississippi or Alabama or Georgia. No, he's British.
Yeah.
But he got that accent 100%.
I don't know why, but like most British people can really do a good American accent.
Totally immersion.
They can't all do it, but most of them can.
I guess it's just total immersion. They come down here and they live here for a while, you know, getting ready.
They have
for the
coaches
role.
and stuff like that, but
Coaches.
still. But I am
talking to people who are real fucking local.
Yeah, I mean, I am gonna say, I was curious because it is a very distinct accent, and I don't know if like maybe some people saw the movie and didn't realize that that's a very specific accent, like for people that are from that area, and maybe they thought he was just trying to do a generic South African accent or maybe even an Australian accent. I kind of feel like maybe people thought he was trying to do that, and I'm like, that's not exactly the accent that he's doing. It's a very specific region, and as far as I know, like I said, most people from that I saw like comments from that were actually from that area said, yeah, he did a pretty good job. Yeah. Like that's pretty much what they sound like.
To my ears, it just sounded South African.
Yeah, it's similar, but it's like, yeah. But so, this movie, it actually, I guess the script for it was like floating around for years and years and, you know, was in development hell and shit like that. The guy that directed it, Edward Zwick, he's real big on he ended up like co-writing the script. He didn't write the original version, but he did like some rewrites on it later on. Edward Zwick is kind of known for doing big epic historical dramas that are also like popcorn movies. You know what I mean? Like a good hybrid of that. Like he made The Last Samurai with Tom Cruise. He made Glory.
Yeah. So
he does like a lot of movies like that. And I think this was kind of like a perfect hybrid of, you know, if you want to call it, and this is going to sound a little dismissive, but a message movie, you know, or issue-tainment, if you want to call it that, because it's not exactly based on a true story, but it's a fictional story set inside a real context, like of real shit that was going on, you know, to draw attention to a particular
and I think this
issue.
Character was based on a real guy, wasn't he?
I don't think he was specifically based on a real guy, no. But like I said, all the background stuff that was going on, that's all that's all based on real shit. But this specific story is not real. But all the background information was based on real shit. So I did like specifically about this movie, because I saw this movie back in, because this came out in 2006. I saw it on an airplane in like 2006 or 2007. Like I was going over to the UK or something. And I saw it on the plane and I remembered really, really liking it a lot. But I hadn't seen it again since then. So I was really excited to watch it because I was like, wow, I remember that being really good. And I knew that Tom would probably really dig it. And I gotta say, it's way better than I remembered it being. Way better. I didn't actually remember how fucking action-packed this thing is. Yeah. You know what I mean? I kind of remembered it being as kind of like more of a heavy, like I said, like a message movie, not in a bad way, but you know what I mean? Like it's all about this kind of conflict and it's a real bummer. And it is about that, but it's super, super like, I mean, there's fucking gun battles and car chases and shit like that.
African warfare.
Yeah, and like, and not in a Michael Bay kind of cheesy ass way, like in a realistic way. And actually, the battle scenes in this are really good, and they're like,
good, yeah, they're a good representation of African warfare.
Yeah,
and the shit that the RUF was doing to people, how they got kids to become child soldiers, how they talk them into it. Use mind control on them. The movie's fucking great. I think it's a masterpiece. It's on par with a fucking Daniel Craig, James Bond, you know, like fucking Casino Royale. It has a lot of that feel to it, where there's kind of a grittiness and kind of a reality to it. The characters that he's playing is kind of like a James Bond type guy, except he's, you know, I don't want to say he's a mercenary. He is.
I mean,
he's
working
smuggler.
for people, but he's like working for himself, and he doesn't really. His kind of character arc. Everybody has a character arc in this, but his main character arc is, you know, actually doing something for someone else at the end, rather than just looking out for himself the whole entire time.
Yeah, but he's very much kind of like a fucking low budget James Bond guy. He doesn't have any governments behind him really. He's just on his own, and he's dealing with rough dudes and trying to come up with money and buying illegal guns and carrying fucking pistols and shit, fucking killing soldiers to get a mission done, just to get this damn diamond. He's not doing it in the name of any kind of country or any government. He's doing it for himself.
Yeah, he's just trying to make money.
He's in Russia. He's in Africa, and it's kind of lawless anyway. The countries that are in are falling apart, so you can do what you want. And, great. It's a great flick, man. It's a masterpiece.
And like I said, really this is based on real shit. When they wrote the screenplay, they actually had to fictionalize the names of the diamond companies and stuff like that because they're like De Beers, you know what I mean? They didn't want to get sued. So they're like, but we wanted to make it as truthful as possible. So even if they wanted to sue us, we'd be like, hey, we're not making anything up. Like, you know what I mean? Right. We have proof that all this kind of shit happened. So, but that was a very common thing. The movie came out in 2006, but it was set in 1999. And the reason they said it then was because, you know, obviously the Civil War in Sierra Leone ended in 2002. So they wanted to set it while it was still kind of at its height. And also in 2000, because of the kind of outrage about you know, blood diamonds in general, they actually established something called the Kimberley process, which is in theory supposed to you know, certify that the diamond didn't come from a conflict area. You know what I'm saying? In practice, the thing about it is that from everything I read about it, there are still blood diamonds, like conflict diamonds out there, but it's not as bad of a problem as it used to be. It's still a problem, obviously, but it's not as bad as it used to be. And I think that's maybe because a lot more people are aware of it nowadays. But, I mean, the whole thing behind this movie, something that they, like I said, wanted to draw attention to, was that the diamonds were funding these rebels. And these rebels were essentially going from village to village and just wiping everybody out, like raping the women, shooting the children, or taking the children and turning them into child soldiers.
It's just like I told you in that Russian movie that we saw when those German Einsatzgruppen going through Russia. I said that's kind of like African warfare, what they were doing, which is in a way real warfare. It's just killing civilians, getting rid of the enemy population. That's what they're doing. What's the name of that Russian movie we were selling again?
Come and See.
What's that?
Come and See.
You're right, yeah. So it's not confined just to the African continent. It's been throughout the history of mankind that they've done this kind of shit. People have done this to each other. And that's one of the statements of this movie. The African guy's like, I can't believe that my people do this to each other over here.
It's fucked up.
Yeah. Cutting people's hands off for really nothing.
Well, their story was, well, we didn't want you to vote, so we're going to cut your hands off. And they did absolutely do that. That's not they didn't make that up for the movie.
It's more
that
like trying to take control of them using horror. To take,
To
so dominance.
I mean, I read somewhere that like hundreds of thousands of people were mutilated like that, like had their hands and had their hands and feet cut off.
Yeah.
And yeah, so they were just going from village to village, and like ostensibly they were kind of starting out like fighting the government and saying like, oh, we're gonna help the people, but they just ended up killing people in the end. And they were using diamonds. They were capturing people, capturing children, and brainwashing them into being child soldiers, which they do depict in this movie, which I thought was good. I like that they kind of had the balls to show that.
Yeah,
they do show it like pretty clearly, like how it happens, and they do show little kids like mowing people down and shit like that.
Yeah, most of the soldiers are fucking young.
Yeah,
9,
they're
10.
like little kids.
Yeah.
And they're taken away and they're brainwashed into, oh, your parents are just weak, they're fishermen, and it's like they're not fighting for the country and blah blah. Yeah. And so and then they're kind of like nice to them and they give them all this stuff, but they're trying to get them to.
One thing I liked that the in this movie, the black teacher guy points out, he says the word infantry is French. Infanterie means child soldier. Absolutely true. I'm ex-infantry, 101st Airborne Division. And originally, infantry in the West, okay, they were young, real young, 12, 13, 14. That's who you were looking for. Child soldier. When you're young, you're indestructible. So you think you're invincible, so you make good soldiers. Yeah.
And like I said,
you're not aware enough to be afraid.
Right, and they spend quite a bit of time in this one because, one of the main characters, Solomon, he gets, taken in his family, his wife and kids get away, like when their village is raided, but he doesn't know where they are for like a really long time, but he gets captured and essentially enslaved and like put into, to work on the diamond mines. And so he's kind of just wants to get his kid back. But meanwhile, his son, whose name is Dia, he's probably what, like 10, 11?
Yeah, he's about
something like that.
10, 11.
Yeah.
12.
He's all that his dad wanted for him was for him to become a doctor or to have like a better life than he had. And that was really all that he wanted for his family. Like he was a very simple, kind of good man. And Dia gets abducted and brainwashed into this thing, and they show this particular scene, which is actually pretty horrible, where all the kids are there and they're like doing like a class almost, and they put like a blindfold on Dia and tell him put a gun in his hand, just pull the trigger, and there's a guy, and he doesn't see the guy. Like there's a guy he doesn't know there's a guy there. He just like blows the guy away, and then he takes the thing off and he's all freaked out. But then like later on, the guy's like, oh, we're promoting you to captain, and like you did really good, and blah blah blah. Yeah. So over time, he gets so brainwashed that when his dad like comes into the camp like to try and rescue him, he's like traitor, like he doesn't recognize him anymore.
Yeah, and really that way of indoctrination or training a child soldier, what they showed in the movie here was actually the tame way. Another way that they would do it, and I heard this from fucking witnesses who were fucking involved in this shit on some other programs that I was doing research. What they would do is they go into a village and they grab an entire family and they get the kids. They says, we're going to kill all of you. And then you tell the kids, says, if you kill your own parents, we'll let you live. And they'll do that. Then the kids would kill their own parents. And then afterwards, they'd be all messed up from killing their own parents. And then their little new commander would say, what you did was cowardice. Only a weak boy would do that. Kill their own parents. You should have died. But because you're a coward, all right, you killed your own parents. He says, but instead of killing you, we're gonna teach you how to be brave and strong and how to face death like a man. And then that's where they grew them. So they're using the guilt over killing their own parents to live to turn them into a kamikaze.
Right.
Which is a more advanced way of doing it. Like you're weak. You should have volunteered for death.
Right.
Only a weak person would kill their own family to live. You suck, but we're going to make you into a man.
Yeah. Well, it's like breaking someone down before building them back up.
Yep.
Even if building them back up into something, into a monster, is essentially what they're doing.
Yeah, don't for one second think those African fighters down there were fucking full of shit. No, just go look at fucking General Butt Naked.
We did a whole show about that guy.
Yeah, they were very good at what they were doing, and as a professional soldier from a highly organized industrial society, no, they actually know what they're doing for their battlefields. They're in a different situation than say the United States is. No, they were expert at what they were doing, and more traditional actually. That's the way you'd done it in the Middle Ages, probably.
And, like I said, I think the thing that's cool about this movie is that, I mean, it's sad to watch. Yeah. It's horrifying to watch. And especially because all the action sequences are really well shot. And it's like, it really doesn't shy away from just the horrible, horrible violence. I mean, just all of entire villages of, like, just innocent people getting fucking mowed down and shit like that. I mean, it's horrifying to watch, but like I said, they're not exaggerating. I mean, that did happen, like, during that Civil War, so it's not, like I said, it's not really exaggerated. So I like that it didn't really shy away from that, but at the same time, it's still, and this is gonna sound kind of fucked up to say, but it's still, like, an entertaining movie, even though it's a bummer and it's a horrifying topic. But it's still like a thrilling movie to watch. Like, it's really fast paced. It's really like an adventure. Yeah. And I think it was good that they focused on the three characters that are kind of at the center of it. I think that was a good dynamic because you had Leonardo DiCaprio's character, Archer. Archer was his last name. And who was just like an amoral, selfish, he was just kind of out for himself, and that's all he was worried about.
He was a type guy.
Yeah, exactly. And you find out later that he had some real fucked up shit happen to him when he was a kid, parents. Like what happened to his parents and stuff. Yeah. So you find out that, and then you get some sympathy later. But so, you're kind of following his character arc through the whole thing as he's like, learning to maybe do something like for someone else other than himself. You also have Solomon's character, who's he's also, I love that actor, by the way. And I was like, man, he's been in so many things. He was in Amistad, the Steven Spielberg movie. He was also in the Shazam movies. He was the wizard. Okay, Shazam. Yeah. That's right. Probably yeah. So because I was like, I've seen him I've seen him in a bunch of shit. Djimon Hounsou is his name. So, yeah, he's been in a ton of shit. He should be in more stuff, actually. Yeah, he was in all the Shazam movies. He's fucking great in this. I think he got a Golden Globe nomination or maybe an Oscar nomination.
He's got a fantastic skull. His head is just fucking...
He has a great face.
He's got a real good face,
yeah. But he is just a genuinely good dude. So much so that he kind of does dumb shit.
He can't lie.
Because he can't lie. He doesn't understand... Like, he's like, but, when they're trying to, lie their way into this one place where the diamond is, where he hid the diamond, by going with the press convoy. So they're like, yeah, we're all reporters, and you're the cameraman. He's like, but I'm not a camera. He's like, shut up, you are a camera. You know what I mean? Because he doesn't understand, like...
You don't understand, sometimes you have to fucking lie in the... You have to lie in order to get a mission done.
Yeah, because he's just such a good person that he's just like...
Deception is not in him.
That he can't be like that. He's just like very optimistic about the future. Like I said, he's really convinced I'm going to find my son and I'm going to be able to get him back and he's going to be a doctor one day and all this other kind of stuff. So I really like the dynamic between those two characters, this kind of just like world-weary, cynical, amoral smuggler dude, and then this like pure-hearted...
just a tribal guy trying to move up.
Yeah, he's just and all he cares about, he's just like he just wants his family back. Yeah. Like especially his son. And he actually kind of feels sorry for Archer because Archer does not have a wife or children or or anything like that, and he just feels bad for him because he's alone. And then I also like the addition of Jennifer Connelly's character, whose name is Maddie, and she's kind of like she really cares about this conflict. She really cares about these people. But then in a way, she's also kind of exploiting them too, which she seems a little bit aware of. Because she does kind of bring it up. She's like, to him, she's like, oh, you think I'm just exploiting their grief, like, for my own career? Because she does go around taking pictures of people in horrible situations and writing stories about them and stuff. So I think that I don't know, I just think the movie was good at kind of approaching all of these moral conundrums.
Another thing is that...
Without any easy answers.
She was all anti-Blood Diamond. But in the end, she helped Solomon sell the blood diamond to get money.
Yeah.
To save his family and to get the fuck out of there. But then he used the money, and he testified in front of an international court about what was happening over there.
And she did write the story about it, so to like draw attention to it.
So she was also ended up, in order to help Solomon, she kind of became a smuggler in a way, or aided in abetting fucking blood diamond smuggling.
Yeah, I mean, she helped get it out. Well, yeah, she helped get it out of the country.
She helped get it out of the country, yeah.
And she helped him sell it. Right. Because, like I said, spoiler alert, Leonardo DiCaprio's character dies at the end.
Yeah.
But now, before he dies, he helps Solomon escape.
Yeah.
And then he calls Maddie on the sat phone and says, "Hey, I'm sending him to London. Please help him when he gets there. Like, help, because he won't know what to do. Like, who to sell it to and shit like that."
Jen says, him getting killed and shit was a bummer. I'd say no. The way the story goes, it's a masterpiece. It's the end. It's the honorable end of a tragic anti-hero.
Yeah.
Okay. He's a heroic guy, but he's kind of an anti-hero who becomes a hero in his death.
Yeah.
He couldn't be a hero
while he was alive. Right.
He had to start dying, and he goes, "Okay,
I'm gonna be a good person.
I'm out of here, so I'm gonna help you."
Right.
Okay. Fucking, and that's how he redeemed himself.
That was so great.
And the story would not be the same without him dying in it.
Yeah, he kind of
lived in it. It would have been a light bullshit Hollywood story. No, he had to die in this. Kind of like the way Harrison Ford said Han Solo should have died in the Star Wars movies.
Yeah,
he should have died.
Sometimes you got to kill a character off as much as you.
He didn't die. Well, and here they killed him. Yeah.
I love when he's like up on the ridge or whatever, because he gets shot during this whole thing, and then like he's like, "Yeah, bro, I'm not gonna make it." Yeah. And that's when they have the whole discussion about, he's like, "I thought you were gonna steal the diamond," and he's like, "It did occur to me," because he was going to.
He was gonna steal it.
He was gonna steal it.
Yeah.
But so because like I said,
laughing.
And the dude just laughed.
Occurred to me.
It had occurred to me. He said. But I really like after he makes sure that Solomon has got on the plane, because he called in, his pilot and everything like that. It's like, get him the fuck out of here.
To extract him, yeah.
With the diamond. Yeah. And so I like, then he calls Maddie, like Jennifer Connelly's character, on the sat phone. She's in London or whatever, and says, "I'm looking at a beautiful view right now." He doesn't mean the view. He means the plane leaving. Yeah, yeah. Like, I got him out of here, and his life is going to be better. And then he's able to like actually get to London and negotiate, not only to get paid for the diamond, but also to get his family back.
And then they have the little iconic scene where he's wounded. He's got a sucking chest wound, basically. It's kind of at an angle.
Yeah, it looked like it came, like, hit him in the lung.
Hit him in the lung at a certain angle underneath his arm. And Solomon tried to carry him out of there, but he couldn't take it anymore. So it was fucking him.
He did carry him for a while.
Carried him a while, but he just couldn't. He wasn't going to make it. So he set him down, and he just told him what to do, get out of here, and fucking made sure he got extracted. And Solomon stayed behind fighting the pursuers to buy him time to leave. And the guys that he was fighting was his old unit, basically.
Yeah, his old commander.
His old commander and the guy in the little mercenary army he had amassed from Rhodesia. So they were ex-Rhodesians. And that's where they have a little bitty fucking scene that didn't last long of DiCaprio using what in the gun scenes called the fucking blood diamond carbine.
It's very famous. I saw a bunch of videos about it. Like, a lot of people are very excited.
I built that carbine. Yeah. It's an XM177 with an A1 upper and a short fucking flash suppressor without the fucking slots cut in it, and a fucking an optic on top. It's an aim point, or it's an old one of the older aim points. You can get reproductions of it, and I got the reproduction light and everything, but I didn't spray paint mine green. But all the ex-Rhodesian guys carried that same weapon in it, and it's famous now in the gun scene. Blood diamond carbine. The guys are making that retro rifle. They're making that, and they're also making the Gordon carbine. I think is what they call it, which is the one from Black Hawk Down. It's similar carbine.
We reviewed that, didn't we? Like, pretty recently, I thought.
But 90s guns, and I came up in the 90s, fucking as a soldier. So I have a real soft spot for A1s and A2s and XM177s and shit that came from the fucking 90s, all the way up to the late 90s. Just good old retro guns. They call them retro guns now. Those bitches were fucking high tech when I was active. You call them retro. It's funny. You get old before you think. You get old without really thinking about it.
Well, it happens to everybody. Mm-hmm. But the thing about this one, I kind of feel like maybe because this movie came out the same year as The Departed, which everybody talked about, I feel like this one doesn't get talked about as much. And even though it made money, like it cost $100 million to make, which you'll understand when you see it. I mean, they shot it on location, actually in, they didn't shoot it in Sierra Leone, obviously, but they shot it in Mozambique, so they did shoot it in Africa. And the battle scenes and stuff like that are just amazing. And there's no CGI in this, I don't think. It didn't look like it. Everything looked like...
It looked like practical effects.
It all looked like practical effects, like all the explosions and gunshot. And like I said, there's a lot of fucking violence in this. It's pretty horrifying. So, but like I said, it's realistic, like, to what was going on at the time. But I kind of feel like this one, it got positive reviews, but also kind of mixed. I think a lot of people... Some critic reviews, I thought, like, a lot of them were just kind of like, yeah, this is awesome, but a lot of people didn't like it as much as The Departed. I think I like this one better than The Departed a little bit, but I think people thought maybe the end was too, like, pat or too Hollywood, but I don't know if I agree with that, though, you know?
Maybe Hollywood for the time. They would never make this movie today, not the way they made it now. No, this is a good movie.
I mean, this wasn't that long ago, really, this movie. But like I said, I like that they didn't. I mean, they actually had the balls to go there. They didn't call the company in the thing De Beers because, like I said, they're going to get sued. But that's pretty much who they were talking about. But they did go into kind of all the intricacies of the diamond industry and like the inherent problems with it. And I don't know if it was this movie that caused a lot of people to be more aware of the issue, but I'm sure it didn't hurt. So I think at this point, more people at least are aware of it and are like, if they are going to buy diamonds, which, one, I never would because it's not really my thing. Yeah. And it's like, even if I could afford it, it's why would you? But
well, that's one of the things about the movie. The movie tells you is that,
like, is it really worth like people getting their hands cut off and shit? Because that's what happened.
The value of diamonds is an artificial construct. They're not worth anything.
They're just rocks.
Not really.
They're just pretty rocks.
Yeah, and the technology exists now where you can fucking pull those things out of the ground all fucking day long. So most of the diamond industry is fighting.
Well, they can make them in a lab.
You can make them in a lab.
You can make them in a lab.
Most of the diamond industry is to kind of stop people from digging, because the more they dig, the more diamonds they find, and the value of the diamonds fucking starts to plummet.
Well, and they
start flooding the market.
They even mentioned in this movie that the diamond is, and they do actually do this, is that they have a fuck ton of diamonds just like in vaults.
Yeah, hiding them.
To hide them.
Because if they were to hit the market, the value would fucking plummet.
Right, because they want artificial scarcity.
Yeah.
So they do bring that issue up in the movie as well.
Diamonds were fucking rare back before the industrial era. Because they were harder to get. They didn't have hardcore industrial machinery and the ability to find where diamonds are made and where they are on the earth. You know what I mean? You know where to dig. We're kind of random to find a diamond. But even when fucking European nobles back in the fucking 1400s found a diamond, they really weren't all that valuable either, and they weren't even really that pretty. It was just something kind of shiny. They cut it and they put it in a necklace and give it to the rich person. But I don't think they were worth all that much either back then. But now, really, the idea that diamonds are fucking worth a shit ton of money is a modern construct. And there was a whole advertising campaign behind it that, hey, if you're going to marry somebody, you got to give them a diamond.
Like for an engagement ring.
Yeah, that is a totally artificial
That was
concept.
the diamond industry.
That was the diamond industry saying that.
Well, they were trying to sell their
trying to sell
products.
These things. Yeah.
That's just like every other company.
Yeah.
So you know what I mean.
And then they start guilt tripping dudes. Oh, well, diamonds are forever. The fucking relationship's forever, or isn't it? It's better to have a diamond involved. Oh, she's looking for these stones. Boys, cough up the fucking cash. Man, they weren't looking for those stones until they told them about those stones. They didn't give a shit about that.
I mean, honestly, like I said, I always thought gemstones were pretty, but it's like I don't think I would ever like spend all that kind of money on them.
I really don't give a fuck.
Honestly, I would rather. I just like the look of stuff, so I would just buy like fake costume
glass
shit. Looks just as good to me. I don't really care.
Makes no fucking difference.
One way or the other, and at least nobody got fucking shot or enslaved or had their hands cut off over it. So at least,
and everybody
so
can have it.
There's
You know
that.
what I mean? But there's, you can just buy it. There it is.
Yeah,
$5.
That's what I mean.
Beautiful necklace.
But it's just, I do kind of like that this movie, and like I said, it's not super heavy-handed about it. Like, it does make it clear, like, what the, all of the kind of machinations of what's going on behind the scenes. And like I said, all of that is true. It was, like, really well researched and stuff. But it's like they don't hit you over the head with it. It's still, like, a good story. It's still a compelling, action thriller. It's still really fast-paced, and it still has really good characterization. You care about the characters. So it doesn't feel like, it just has a message shoehorned in. I mean, obviously there is a message in there, but I think they did a good job of kind of organically putting it into the plot. You know what I mean? And like I said, I kind of feel like something like diamonds, which is just so... It's a luxury item. You don't need it. You can't eat them. You can't do anything with them, really, other than wear them. So... if it made a few more people aware that it's like, hey, this is all the shit that's going on behind that, like maybe you might want to not buy one, or at least find out where it came from. You know what I mean? And like I said, nowadays, because they can grow them in a lab, I don't think there's any reason to go with any of this nonsense. You know what I'm saying? So there's that. SideQuest Hero says, Blood Diamond. It's a great movie. It is a great movie. Like I said, I had forgotten how fucking good this movie was. Like, I had seen it once before, but man, it's just relentless. Like, it just keeps going. It's just like, and the battle scenes are just like so well staged. Like everything just like so, it's really intense. Like, it doesn't slow down for like a minute, and it's long. It's like 2 hours and 25 minutes or something, but it doesn't seem long at all. Like, you just really are going along for this ride. So I think it was like really well done. But like I said, the director of this is kind of known for doing these big kind of historical epics like that. Which
I loved it. I thought it was a great movie.
We never did Last Samurai, did we?
No, we didn't, but I've seen it.
The Tom Cruise movie? I saw it a long time ago, but I don't remember all that much
It's pretty
about
good.
it. And he did Glory as well, which I remember liking that too, but I haven't seen that in a long time either.
Last Samurai was based on
that was
real
based on
shit that was
yeah.
happening.
Well, like I said, this is too, but
was involved in that though.
Yeah, well,
probably not.
They probably just wanted to shoehorn
a white guy.
Tom Cruise in there.
When fucking Shogun came out, they're shoehorning some fucking Dutch white guy into Japanese history. They didn't really like that.
Well, that's the thing. It's like, and I kind of feel like maybe it's a little less so like that nowadays, but I kind of feel like for a long time Hollywood was like, well, Americans aren't going to watch a movie unless there's a white dude in this.
Yeah.
So we have to like figure out some way to like put him in the story.
That was the old audience.
That's what I'm saying.
New shit now, fucking. I watch an all Japanese movie, fucking.
Yeah, no, I don't. No one really cares nowadays.
When
but
Godzilla Zero came out, what was that? Godzilla -1.
-1.
Yeah, Godzilla -1 came out. That was all Japanese movie from Toho, the original studio, and that shit was fucking off the chain. That was a great movie. I want to buy that.
Well, honestly, I think the thing, and this is one of the things, and I think I brought this up on my history of horror documentary that I made. I don't want to call it a documentary, just the video that I made. And the proliferation of streaming services, I think, has done not only like, do you see like a lot more movies by like indie filmmakers and stuff like that, but you see a lot more movies like foreign stuff. And so people are a lot more open to shit from just anywhere, you know what I mean? Like, because I kind of feel like people back in
zombie movies.
Yeah, like people back in the old days be like, well, they needed like an American in the movie, or they wanted it to be in English, or they wanted it to be dubbed, or some shit like that. But it's like nowadays, I don't think most people have a problem.
This is how stupid it was. They dubbed Mad Max 1 into American English.
Ridiculous.
From fucking Australia.
It was in English.
It was already in English, yeah. And the Australian dub is superior to the American dub.
Well, of course.
Far superior.
I can't stand dubbing.
Stupid. I don't know why they did that. They were trying to pass that movie off as some kind of an American movie, but I think
that's the kind of shit they did back then.
I think it was something different than that, though. I think what it was is that the company that was going to distribute it, there must have been some kind of agreement. Well, we have to have some American participation in it before we can distribute it. We want our cash. So we're going to fucking we're gonna fucking dub it, and we'll have some voice actors, and then we can call it our own, and we'll make our cut. That's gotta have been something.
Well,
like
they
that.
did that with a lot of like the Japanese movies, where like even the original Godzilla movie.
Yeah.
They re-edited that with some American actors in it.
Yeah.
That they released over here, like with scenes with American actors in it.
And that wasn't in the original.
No,
Gojira.
of course not.
No. And I'll tell you what, Gojira -1 or Godzilla -1 was the second best Godzilla movie. It was as good as the original because it had if you watch the original Godzilla movie, it's a horror movie.
It's definitely a horror movie.
It's a horror movie. Yeah.
I mean, some of the later ones were kind of goofy and like it kind of went.
They were kaiju movies.
Yeah, you know what I mean. But the first one was absolutely a horror movie.
Yeah, well, -1 is a horror movie too.
Yeah, big time.
Yeah, and like Jaws, it's got some Jaws elements.
It kind of reminded me of Jaws in a weird way.
Yeah, all fucking. So we're sitting here, we're plugging Godzilla -1 in the middle of this Blood Diamond, but it deserved it. You know, the movie was out just a couple months back, so.
SideQuest here says, dude, dubbing makes me crazy.
Yeah,
I'd rather read subtitles.
Sucks.
The only time I will watch a dubbed movie is if it's an Italian Giallo movie. Yeah. Because they did that for all...
They're all dubbed.
They're all dubbed. You can't really...
There is no original.
Because, what happened with that, with the Italian film industry in particular, is that they had actors from all over Europe and American actors and shit like that. So they just said, everybody just speak their language, and we'll just dub it into a whole bunch of different languages.
Yeah, they dub it, yeah.
So it's like, so you just watch the English dub, and it's not like there's a difference. Yeah. So that doesn't bother me as much, but I can't watch... Because I know that that's not the person's real voice. It drives me fucking insane.
But it's not the same world. We saw Godzilla -1 in a fucking AMC theater. It had a good crowd in there, and it was in Japanese.
Yep.
It was in Japanese.
Which is
with subtitles.
Which is how it should be.
The fucking audience loved it.
Yeah, they were super into it.
They fucking loved it. Yeah. Great movie.
Like I said, and I think that probably because now you can see any movie from any era ever. Like, you can just watch it pretty much. I think people are a lot more open to... Every now and then, I do see some, like, people whining. Like, because I'm in a lot of horror groups and stuff, like, on Facebook and Instagram and stuff. Every now and then, you see some people whining. It's like, remember when we reviewed that movie When Evil Lurks, which was Argentinian?
Yeah.
And that was a fucking fantastic movie. It was so good. And it's on Shudder, by the way. And... some people were like, "Oh, everybody was talking about this movie, and I watched it, and it's in a foreign language. I don't want to read a movie." And I'm just "Oh my god, how old are you?
You don't deserve to be watching.
Then don't fucking watch it.
Don't fucking watch it. Yeah.
Because honestly, like some of the best horror movies in the last several years have been foreign horror movies.
When you're watching a foreign flick, you want to see it in the original language because you want to hear the authenticity of the experience.
That's what I mean. I want to hear their voices.
The authenticity of the fucking experience, and I'd watch these Chinese movies, okay? When they were dubbed into English, they were corny as fuck. If you saw it in the original language, you're like, "Oh, this is a high quality movie."
Yeah, it's not.
Okay, they're good actors. Okay, yeah, this isn't a joke.
Yeah. They come across as like funny because sometimes, right? Because Danny even said that old school kung fu flick dubbing is funny when it's in English.
Yeah, you hear it in Chinese, you're like, "Oh, okay, yeah."
Yeah, it's actually like a serious movie.
Right, yeah.
So, that's kind of where I'm coming at it from. But like I said, and I'm used to reading subtitles anyway because I'm half deaf at this point in my life. So even if the movie is in American English, I always put the subtitles on because I can't hear fucking shit and I can't hear what they're saying. So I always have subtitles on. So I'm used to reading subtitles no matter what language the movie is in. So it doesn't bother me.
It was so stupid. Fucking, I saw fucking Road Warrior on VHS, back in the day, because I wasn't around during the time when it was on the theater. And it was a fucking great movie. And then we go and fucking rent Mad Max 1 and it's dubbed. We're like, what the fuck is this? That's not Mel Gibson's voice. What
it's like, we know what he sounds like. Come on.
But then later on, we were allowed to get the original Australian dub. And all of a sudden, oh man, this is a great movie.
Yeah.
It's a great movie. You want to hear it with the original fucking audio track.
Yeah,
so you can hear the actors, and it made a lot more sense when it was in Australian English. And I don't understand the market of the 70s and the American market of the 70s and the 80s of where you tried to make everything seem American. Because Mad Max 1, I think it would have had market appeal as an Australian movie.
You would think that. Like now, like I said,
yeah.
nowadays no one would care, but maybe back then, because here's the thing. I'm going to say that even like in the 70s and 80s, you know, like there were all those Canadian horror movies.
Yeah.
And they all pretended they were American.
Yeah, weird.
Like they'd always have a character. Yeah, they always had like a character. Like My Bloody Valentine didn't try that hard.
Yeah.
But like a lot of other slasher movies would have like, you know, there'd be like the cop character and he'd have like an American flag on his desk or some shit like that. We're like, we know this is Canada. Knock it off. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like as soon as somebody says oot, you know what I mean? It's like we know where you're at.
They were too conformist, too American centric. The fucking studio should have said, no, this is going to be a foreign fucking flick. It's going to be awesome. And it's going to be Canadian as fuck. Canuck and shit. Canuck exploitation.
That's what Brandon Tennell
Yeah, and it probably would have been better.
Because he's Canadian.
I think they were underestimating the audiences at the time.
They did, yeah.
I think they probably would have had a better response if you sold it as a foreign movie.
Yeah.
In English. Canadian English.
And the thing about it that's crazy is that even during the 70s, a lot of foreign horror made a big splash, like in the United States, like Dario Argento movies and stuff like that. And I mean, those were dubbed in English, like fair enough. But you saw like some weird fucking Spanish movies, like all that kind of Euro sleaze and stuff like that. Like people were all into that. You know?
I don't
know. I don't get it either. I think that was maybe that was maybe some audience demand, but I think that was mostly studios being like underestimating their audiences, maybe.
Yeah. Side quest heroes in. What's up, babe?
So I think foreign horror is better because American horror has become too dependent on shock value and gore and less on getting in your head.
Well, that's nothing. Yeah, some of the European shit is all about gore.
Well,
they got some weird.
Yeah,
shit.
I will say it's just I don't know if it's like quite across the board because like Italian or European horror, I've always found has been a lot more disturbing and a lot more gory. And a lot more sexually explicit in general than American horror. American horror, even the torture porn kind of stuff that came out like in the early to mid 2000s, was a little bit not tame, but tame in comparison to European shit.
Yeah, but the French were fucking doing wild ass bullshit.
That's what I mean. I'm just like the new French extremity movies that came out like in the early to mid 2000s. A lot of those were way more disturbing than any of the American shit. Like, way gorier. Like watch something like Martyrs or something like that. Holy fucking shit. That movie made me feel bad for days and days and days. And it's way more disturbing than any American movie.
I have limits to what I'll watch. My limit is like Human Centipede.
See, I don't...
That was pretty disturbing.
I've seen it.
I was like, man.
Like I said, I don't gore.
I still enjoyed it, but I don't want any more than that.
Gore and torture and stuff. I know this is going to sound fucked up. Gore and torture and stuff like that in a movie, if it's fake, doesn't bother me that much. But shit, vomit, that grosses me out. Like I can't watch that. I'll just gag forever. So Human Centipede, I watched the first one and then I saw part of the second one, and I was just kind of like. I like the premise, okay? I do like, that sounds like some shit I would have read. I actually did write a short story that was kind of like that, like a long time ago. Yeah. Not people like being, all roped together like ass to mouth, but similar. Yeah. So, but I wrote it on purpose to gross myself out because I wanted to see if I could. But honestly, if anything's going to gross me out, it's going to be that. Gore does not really bother me. It has to be real egregious before, because so when I see people talking about, oh my god, Terrifier 2, it was like so gory and stuff, like it was, but it's like it didn't really bother me.
Yeah, there's a lot worse.
There's way worse. I've seen way worse.
I like Terrifier. I thought Terrifier 1 and 2, I thought they were cool.
I did too. And I don't know if you've seen it, but there's a great fucking, I think it's, where is it from? Is it Taiwanese? Called The Sadness.
Yeah.
Woo, that is a bloodbath. Oh, it's a great movie though. It's like an infection. I don't want to say zombie. It's kind of like a zombie movie, but that was like really good too. I think I reviewed it a while back. But yeah, so gore doesn't bother me, but shit and vomit, I'm just kind of like, I'm not about it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. That kind of shit like bothers me. All right, so I guess you sound like you're kind of winding down.
Yep.
But yeah, so
The Cell if you want to watch The Cell.
We're gonna review that one next, probably.
Okay. Right.
So I don't know. We can watch it tonight if you want, but we're gonna review that next week.
Okay, we'll watch it then.
So, and we got to do Dark City too.
Okay.
And Danny brought up Dark City because Jennifer Connelly is in that as well.
All right.
I bought him those for Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
So we're going to review those two over the next couple weeks. I don't know which one we're going to do first. Before we go, though, I wanted to say again, thank you, Xánada. I don't know if he's in here.
I haven't seen him.
For sending us Blood Diamond, because like I said, I had seen this once and I really wanted to see it again. And man, it's like way better the second time.
Yeah.
I also wanted to give a shout out to one of our newest patrons, Kelly G, who not only joined Patreon a couple weeks back, I think I mentioned it on the show, but over the weekend sent us a very generous PayPal donation.
Yeah.
So thank you very much, Kelly. That was very much appreciated.
Sent us damn near $100.
I mean, I was very surprised. Like when I opened my email and saw that, I was like, oh my god.
Thank you very much.
Also, we have another new patron named Julie.
Oh, good.
So thank you very much and welcome. Hopefully you'll go in there and vote on topics and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Because that's what you can do when you're a patron. Or
it's going to be a good week. Do we already have Wednesday shows planned?
Yes, that's what I was just going to say.
Okay.
I hate to tell you, but it's going to be kind of a bummer show. But I have been wanting to do one about this.
Uh-oh.
We are going to be talking about the abduction and murder of Adam Walsh from 1981.
Yeah.
Very, very high profile case.
Yeah.
Honestly,
America's Most Wanted.
Yeah, this was the son of John Walsh, who went on to do America's Most Wanted. And probably this was the case that had the most impact on American culture in terms of stranger danger and child abduction and things like, and it, a bunch of laws were passed in its wake and stuff like that. So I had been wanting to, because honestly, I remember I was 9 years old when this happened, and I remember this was all over the news, and it scared the fucking piss out of me.
Yeah.
Like hearing about this case. It's a horrible, horrible case. But yeah. So we're going to be talking about that. And there had been some developments in it that I didn't really know about, so which we will discuss at the time. But yeah, that's what's going to be Wednesday's show. So like I said, sorry, it's going to be kind of a bummer, but it is a topic that I've been wanting to talk about for a while. But yeah, Danny Rowling said John Walsh got rich as fuck off his kid. He kind of did. I mean, he kind of did, but
it was the show, not his kid.
Yeah, I mean, I can see how that happened. I don't know.
No, I think he was distraught, man.
Well, considering what happened to that kid, holy crap, it's horrible. But yeah, I think, well, honestly, that happens a lot. Like I watch a lot of true crime. I read a lot of true crime, and honestly, a lot of parents who have shit like that happen to their kids, their main instinct seems to be we need to stop this happening to other people's children because now they know what it's like. Right. So they'll go into like advocacy and stuff like that. So I don't think it's necessarily for nefarious reasons. It's just because they can't bring their kid back. But so they're just like, well, all I can do now is to prevent it from happening to somebody else. You know what I mean? So I can understand that instinct. So I don't really want to shit on them too bad. You know what I mean? But we'll kind of talk about that on the show on Wednesday. So hopefully you guys can join us for that. And again, thank you, Xánada, for sending us Blood Diamond. I really did have a good time rewatching this. And Tom fucking loved it, which I knew you would. Yeah. I knew you would. I did, even the little bit that I remembered about it. I said he's gonna love this fucking movie. Yeah, it's great. And I think more people, like I said, more people don't talk about it. Not as many people talk about it as they do about The Departed, which came out the same year. But I think this is just as good, if not a little bit better. So yeah, so more people should see it. All right, so we're gonna wrap it up. Go get something to eat. Hopefully you guys will come by on Wednesday. I will probably put up a video for Fright Night 2 tomorrow because a friend of the show, Dermot, actually sent me a little bit on PayPal and wanted me to review it. So I did a video for that, so I'm going to put that up tomorrow. So keep on the lookout for that. And we'll see you guys again on Wednesday night.